Hello and welcome to Kinetic Coffee episode number 27. This one's called World Class Fitness at Home. Hey, Josh and Jake.
Hola.
What's going on? It's great to be here.
There seems to be a bit of a video delay with Jake, but that's okay. We'll just pause a little longer.
That was a long delay.
We just know when Jake talks, we just have to wait a little longer. We lost him. He's gonna switch his Bluetooth and then come back on.
Probably.
So why don't we BS while he's coming back? Right before we got in.
There we go.
There he is. Yeah, right before we got on here, I was telling these guys we actually had to. We basically postponed the timing of this podcast twice because I'm at home alone with the babies, and we try to do it every Thursday. Generally, it's always at 11 a.m. That wasn't going to work with nap time, and then so we tried to do it during their afternoon nap, and then they didn't nap at all. So that's where we're at. So it is 7:19 p.m. We actually have 3 live viewers, which is 3 more than our usual 11 a.m. time.
Already? Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, so maybe this is our spot. I don't know. Most people watch it or listen to it after the fact. Okay, so I'm going to lead off today's episode by reading Greg Glassman's World Class Fitness in 100 Words. Now, I want to give you guys some context for this because I have a whole spiel that I'm probably not going to get into on this podcast about this. This dude came up with this. Greg Glassman's the founder of CrossFit. Okay. He came up with this a long time ago, but this was published in the CrossFit Journal, October 2002. And the article is titled, "What is Fitness?" It's a great read and it's timeless. So I encourage you to check it out, but I'm just going to read World Class Fitness in 100 Words. We used to put this in our day 1 or day 2 intro emails for our new members. So here it is. Eat meat and vegetables, nuts and seeds, some fruit, little starch, and no sugar. Keep intake levels that will support exercise, but not body fat. Practice and train major lifts, deadlift, clean, squat, presses, clean and jerk, and snatch. Similarly, master the basics of gymnastics, pull-ups, dips, rope climbs, push-ups, sit-ups, presses to handstands, pirouettes, flips, splits, and holds. Bike, run, swim, row, etc., hard and fast. 5 or 6 days per week. Mix these elements in as many combinations and patterns as creativity will allow. Routine is the enemy. Keep workouts short and intense. Regularly learn and play new sports. Now, most of that statement can be completely done at home. All of it can be with equipment, but most of it, even if you don't have a barbell, you can still master the basics of gymnastics. You can still bike, run, swim, row, hard and fast. You can still mix these elements 5 or 6 days a week. And guess what is most important of all that? You can still eat meat and vegetables, nuts and seeds, some fruit, little starch, and no sugar. Keep intake levels that will support exercise, but not body fat. So why is everybody getting so effing fat while we're on quarantine?
Yeah, that's the question of the hour, right?
It is.
Why? We're getting comfortable. People are bored. We have easy access to fridges. We don't discipline comes to mind in this regard as well. Thinking about how people control their thought patterns and processes like that. So trying to resonate with those people and trying to find out why. A lot of it is accountability. You're at home by yourself. We don't have people that are asking you how things are going constantly. Like, why aren't you at the gym today, or nutrition wise? So people feel less accountable.
Yeah. and this is my slight rant about this, and people were going to say, well, isn't elevated kinetics not really CrossFit? Why did you just read the CrossFit World Class Fitness? Well, because that's when CrossFit used to work in 2002 when Greg Glassman was still doing the programming and it was pure. It went wrong in 2016 when everybody went to if it fits your macros, and if you only practice butterfly pull-ups and tear out your shoulder, then you can eat whatever you want. Like, that's where CrossFit went wrong. That's why we rebranded. That's why we do our thing, but we're still actually true to what he was saying. So, okay, I work with an athlete in, let's just say it's the South, because I don't want to give away his state, but it's on a gigantic river. Where he lives, he can't get meat. And one of the things that we work on our weekly calls is his nutrition. So he lives in a weird spot where the grocery store just doesn't really get it. So our call today was really asking him, he's a high performer. This is not a 21-year-old that just got out of college. So I asked him why he's not getting meat shipped to him. And he looked at me like I had three heads. And then we actually went, he was like, yeah, I'm ordering it tomorrow. Tell me where to order it. So I gave him like 3 different websites. But that's like the fundamental thing is, people are all worried about not being able to get meat. Well, you actually still can. My grocery store is flooded with it. Wally's is still stocked. Like, there's no problem yet. And so the first 2 things on Greg Glassman's list, meat and vegetables, are probably more important than all the rest of the things. Yep. Do you agree, Josh, or not?
Totally. I would also add in one more element of that is like portion sizes, quantity, right? When we're at home by ourselves right now, there's nobody to, there's nobody to, I lost my train of thought. Fuck. Now when we're at home, portion control. So people are constantly binge eating, right? So they're snacking throughout the whole day. There's no one stopping them. And a lot of that becomes an unconscious thing that they're doing, these patterns that are thrown in there. So if you can limit your snacking and your ability to let your mind wander and stick to these basics of eating meat and vegetables, little fruit, you can't go wrong with that. Just portion controls with these whole foods is your best bet. And there was an idea I came up with earlier too, is that watching different advertisements, whether it be on Instagram or Facebook, people are always trying to catch people's attention with, I've got the secret, there's these superfoods, like these trigger words are what are commonly used over and over. And there's no secret. Like, the way we run our nutrition program is not something special. It's not it's just looking at the very basics of it that have always been fundamental to nutrition, and to go above and beyond that. I mean, you're just trying to market out there to get people to come in, but nutrition isn't a difficult thing.
The Monday after we got shut down, we launched the Resilience Challenge. Part of the Resilience Challenge was immunity, and all immunity was really just eat well.
Right.
And everybody was doing pretty well at first. And we gave a checklist for your own accountability. And then on our strategy sessions each week, I would ask people how they're doing with it, blah, blah, blah. People fell off in the first 3 weeks. And then we tried to pull them back by doing the simplest and easiest thing. So we got people back to, can you drink more than 1 glass of water per day? Can you not drink alcohol until after 5 p.m.? So why is it so easy for people to just fall back into bad habits? Why is it the hard thing to just eat meat, vegetables, nuts and seeds, some fruit, little starch, no sugar a week?
I would argue the primary word in all this is discipline. It really just comes down to discipline, to tell yourself no, or, to regulate food that comes in. I think we've become too comfortable in our lifestyle. We're at home and We don't have to leave and travel to go places. We don't experience stress outside of our home as much as we would, navigating through traffic or going into work and spending time with coworkers in a physical atmosphere. So then we just become a little comfortable being at home, and we lose sight of that discipline. Maintaining our goals, like we become unconscious to the environment around us because of how comfortable it is, and we lose sight of our goals. Like really it comes down to this seems like a vacation for people. It's a different change of environment, and I would say like people are getting soft. We're not focusing on the discipline aspect of this. There's no difference from day to day. Just because you stay at home one day compared to going to work at the other day, it's still the same time frame. You're still doing the same thing over and over. So for me, the word is discipline.
Yeah, it sounds a lot like our motivation podcast, and you're just a disciplined person. In your practice, Josh, when you work one-on-one with people, how do you introduce discipline? I assume you're going to meet them where they're at, but then how do you build on that?
It all starts with where they're at, right? So just like what you said, and then we figure out small steps that build on top of each other. Taking one step at a time. Like I've always liked the movie What About Bob? And at the very beginning of that, where he talks about his book, Baby Steps, literally that's what it takes. You're not trying to overload people with too much information or too many things that make them feel overwhelmed or stressful. But when you can slowly meet them where they're at and then figure out what they can and can't do or what they're willing to compromise on, right? And once you build that first step, let's not go backwards. Let's keep that in play. That creates the first step of that discipline. And then you're just building on top of that. Everything is just a layer on top of a layer.
I don't know what just happened. I tried to unmute myself and then I disappeared. And now I don't remember what I was going to say, but Jake's pretty quiet.
Yeah.
I think you talk about discipline too, and I think part of that goes with that is getting into emotion. And it's good to feel emotions. You obviously shouldn't try and shove it all down, because that's how people have heart attacks and they die of stress related issues. But things like, it's I'm stuck at home. I feel really ungrounded. So I'm going to, do something to make myself feel better. And what's one of the first things you can do? Shove your face with food. It's something that can be really hard to deal with, and definitely is like one of those things that if people who struggle with food, or they, have had weight issues their entire life, generally end up falling back into, even if they are a little more disciplined. So you're consistently fighting against that. So that is the thing, though. You continue to fight. You have to have the will to continue to fight. Hey, I fell off, now I'm back on. It's, it's not the end of the world if you had something, that you shouldn't have had. But, it's about whether you get back on the wagon or not.
Yeah, and that's a perfect example. We have to be okay to fail, when we're practicing things and we're going through and learning and progressing, it's okay to fail. There shouldn't be any kind of stress associated with that, but people take it pretty seriously, right? Once they fail, they're afraid to get back up. So they just consistently dwell in the failed attempt at that and not looking to get past that. So that's a very powerful thing, is knowing that it's okay to fail, as long as you get back up and keep moving with it.
It's pretty hard to hear in the moment sometimes, but I think all of us have experienced this to some degree. Even if we use some other example, you don't really learn and grow unless you try hard enough and fail and then come out of that.
Yeah.
So with athletics, it happens all the time in every sport. If you're trying to get good at anything, you're going to fail. And the only way you get better is you fail less. So
yes, Kim's right. Learning comes from failure. So
it does.
It's growth. You can't grow without having challenges. You cannot You cannot progress and you cannot grow as a human without challenges. If you lived a mundane, comfortable life for your whole life, there's no excitement to that. There's no reason to get up every day. But when there's challenges and you conquer those challenges and come out on the other side, that's when you truly grow and learn as a human. So that's exemplifies what nutrition is. As we get into this comfort zone and we become unconscious to our daily habits, and we readily available food that we're able to eat at any given time with nobody to question us or hold us accountable, we typically fail in this regard. And it's okay, like it's okay to go through these moments as long as you are able to get back up and see your errors and move on,
It's all about the long game.
Totally. This is fucking life, man. This is all life. This is a lifelong journey. So
Jake says that like a seasoned professional. It's always it's the more successful people see the longer game. So let's compare this with Olympic weightlifting or CrossFit. If you are only focused on the rep that you're on and you freak out about that emotionally because you fail, you are a beginner and you're playing the short game. If you are playing the slightly longer game, you understand that you're in a 12 or 16 week cycle and that's part of it. But what if you're a higher level coach like me or Jake, and we see the 5, 10, or even 100-year plan, and we know that your bullshit 16-week cycle and you're crying about missing 3 weeks out before your meet is all part of it. And if you don't grow from it, that's fine. But if you do, that's even better because we expect you to grow because we know you're going to fail.
That's a good point. I would also like to point out that this is why I believe that people that are going to be coaches should have at least had some experience in the sport or the realm they're going to be in, especially in the terms of weightlifting, because you understand how hard it can be, especially when you are on like a longer cycle and you have a really good week and then you're crushing it and you're feeling like really good. You come in the next week and you start missing snatches left and right. And then they come back on Wednesday, and then maybe Friday the clean and jerk goes away, and then it's just teeter-totters back and forth, and you feel like your whole world is falling apart and you want to throw your shoes away. That's part of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I once saw an article on breaking muscle, and it was by, I'm not going to name the author because he used to get a lot of them out, but I don't even know if it's still a publication because I don't see it anymore. But he sat there and wrote. He was like a Masters regional athlete who considered himself a coach, who he wrote, you cannot coach Olympic weightlifting until you've done at least a 12-week cycle. And I just thought how that's so adorable that he would actually try to qualify a 12-week cycle as anything. Like, try a 12-year cycle, dude, and then maybe you're into it. But I thought that was hilarious. Now we're digressing, you guys. Let's not go in this direction because this could get ugly. Because I already probably shouldn't have said that. Because everybody's now going to figure out who that guy is, and he wrote this article.
Yeah. I mean, to tie it back into nutrition, though, it's like you constantly see the wave or the evolution of people, right? Once they start, they're pretty gung-ho, whether it be in CrossFit paired with nutrition. They make all the progress in the world. An event happens, whether they go on vacation or, an illness in the family where they have to restart, and they come back and they've gained all that weight. As a coach, you can't say what caused you to fall off. It has nothing to do with that. You have to, everything's about the now, right? Everything's about the moment. So it's not about what you've already done and your failures. It's about how you push through and able to lose that weight again. It's just a cycle. People get too caught up in the failures when they look at it they should just look at it as a failure, isolate it, and then move on. Like tomorrow's a different day.
100%.
So
I think people lie to themselves all the time, and way more than they think they do. So, for example, I'm gonna get in shape tomorrow. I'm gonna eat a carrot tomorrow instead of a bag of chips. And then they get up and they're like gung ho. I am gonna eat kale salad today, right? And then they don't. but they tell themselves that they're going to day after day after day. I'll start tomorrow is the biggest lie that anybody tells themselves, right?
Mhm.
So first of all, what do you guys think about that? And if you agree, how do you murder that liar inside your head?
I agree. Tomorrow will always come, but it'll never arrive, right? The future doesn't exist. It only exists as the moment, right? So the liar in and of itself is saying that I'm going to project myself in the future, which it's always tomorrow. Everything's always tomorrow. But what they fail to comprehend is tomorrow never comes, right? In the regard that I mean by that is it's always now. So to say like, yeah, I'm going to do it tomorrow, but when tomorrow comes and it's now, you're always going to say, I'm going to do it tomorrow, right? In reality, you need to switch your mindset and say, I need to do it now. Otherwise, you're just lying to yourself because the future doesn't exist. Like ultimately, the future does not exist. We're great imaginations. We have this great memory, and we project ourselves in the future with the memories of our past. So we never focus on this moment of now. So if you're constantly projecting yourself in the future, it's never going to come. So you have to switch that mindset. Words are very powerful. If you say I'm ready to start now rather than tomorrow, then that's how you call out that liar, right?
All right. Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. And then, so that's how you actually start to execute. So you catch yourself in the lie is what you're trying to say.
Right.
And you say, oh, I'm going to start tomorrow, even though I just made a batch of cookies. I'm only going to eat 6 cookies and then I'm going to start.
Right.
No, right? You catch yourself right there and you don't do it.
Exactly.
And then you start, and basically our podcast about motivation, you start building on the successes, and it's the successes in your decision making is what you're saying,
Right.
which is I made the better choice this time. Here comes the morning. Do I have a cinnamon bun with frosting because I'm going to do 10 burpees today? Or do I have eggs and maybe some meat?
Yeah.
And then because last night I didn't eat 6 to 12 cookies because I started then, I'm going to keep this snowball going.
Right. I made my first good decision, right? In this moment, I had an option to eat all these cookies. In this moment, I'm ready to start now. I didn't eat the cookies, okay? So tomorrow morning comes around. Now it's in the now of the morning. Okay, so I didn't have those cookies last night, and I've got burpees to do today, like 100 burpees or whatever, right? And I want to make sure my energy's level. I feel really good right now. Since I made a good decision yesterday, I want to keep that trend going. And all it takes is one decision to compound on top of another, right? So it's always better to start now.
I agree. The whole time you were saying that, I don't know if it's just because I've been in quarantine too long. My brain kept flashing back to the scene in Predator where Predator's standing over top of Arnold and he's about to kill him. That's not the one I was thinking of, but that's funny that it's Arnold. What are you waiting? What are you waiting for? Do it now. That's what I keep thinking of. Just do it.
I'll find that one in a second. Let's play this one.
Okay. Oh, is this Jingle All the Way? Yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we can't hear the sound.
Oh no! I don't know how to put the sound in.
Oh no.
Screw it. Sorry, guys.
I'll have to
Basically,
figure out the software.
He says all these cookies, and Arnold says, "Put the cookie down now."
Oh yes, that was so good. All right, Jake did a better job anyway. Jake out Arnolded Arnold. Sorry, I was trying to time that as you guys were talking about the cookies, and then you went to Predator, and I didn't have it because I'm not like a professional producer, and I don't even know how to use the software.
We don't have our own Jamie behind the scenes right now.
That's what we need, because he would just like splice it in, and we'd be good to go.
As soon as you said it, like he would already have it up.
Yeah.
So one thought I had was I would like Jake for you to share what's happening right now with you. You sent me a message. Was it yesterday or the day before about how you need to switch weight
Wait,
category.
Yeah.
And I thought it was comical because I asked you what has changed, and you said nothing for your dietary needs, except you're not drinking alcohol, and you've cut your cheat meals all the way down. So, and it's all consistency. So, I would like you to share your thought processes on this whole quarantine experience and why it's so important for you.
Well, yeah, basically I sent a message to Josh yesterday, and it was after I had it was 900 degrees in this room, and I was too lazy to move all the equipment outside, so I decided to lift in here, and I was dripping sweat. So the shirt came off, and I videoed a set, which nobody will ever see because no one needs to see that. But it was I took a freeze frame in the middle of it, and I stopped it for a second. I'm like holy shit! Like I think I'm I haven't weighed myself since before quarantine started, but I'm pretty sure I'm getting close to 74 or 75 because I'm getting like six pack is coming in, these different things. There's a little bit left, and that's all I got. So, but anyway, long story short, I was telling Josh, I'm I think that I'm probably going to have to go down a weight class because I'm getting closer to 73 as opposed to where I was. I was closer to 81, actually 78 or 79 when I got locked in. And he asked me what was different, and all I told him was I've been able to be more consistent. I was always eating the same things, and I haven't really changed what I've eaten. But not having access to alcohol or not really wanting to buy any and not having it here. And then basically putting all my money into my good food that I have been eating. So I have it. I have it on hand as opposed to spending money on cheat meals. I still do cheat a little bit, but it's significantly less than what I was doing, and I'm definitely seeing some good changes. I was telling them my clothes don't necessarily fit as well as they did anymore. I'm starting to get some baggy shirts now and some pants that used to fit really well, and now they're starting to get a little smaller. Which
that's awesome.
Yeah.
And the reason I wanted to bring that up is what you're doing isn't these huge changes.
No,
you're just saying I'm eating less, poor quality food, and I'm not consuming alcohol, right? And you're consistently eating high quality foods. That's not a secret. That's nothing difficult about it. It just takes these little steps. Each one builds on its previous one.
And the other thing I'll say about that too is before we went into this, I don't want to bring anybody down. There's a good chance that we may all get this, and there's a good chance that we may not all get it. There may be a vaccine in time. Nobody knows. But I also went into it with I'm going to do everything I possibly can to try and remain as healthy as I possibly can to give myself a fighting chance. So in case I do get it, I'm going to come out of it healthy, or, I miraculously don't get it somehow. So that involves diet, sleep, and all those other things. And that just, I think I'm a little more motivated to actually try and make sure my nutrition is on point, because that's one thing I can have handled. And then my workout comes after that, and then sleep comes after that. And all these different things fall on top of each other. So,
yeah, it blows me away that something like this is forcing people into really focusing on their health.
Yeah.
In reality, your quality of life, I would argue, is outside of this would be the most valuable thing to people. We have very limited time. And why wouldn't you want to make the best of that? Feel your absolute best. And once you create that new norm of healthiness, energetic lifestyle, I think it would change a lot of people. So, not to say that this, I'm happy this is happening, but I also think this is a good wake up call for people in their health, especially when you talk about the immune system and a viral infection, on how devastating it can be to the body, and just the research out there saying boosting your immune system with probiotics and eating whole foods and things like that is the best way to overcome a situation if you catch it,
And they're basically saying that we're all going to catch it.
Yeah. So why
we're only saying the reason for social distancing is so the hospitals aren't overrun, but you're all going to get it anyway, is the narrative.
That's essentially what Polo said in his last press conference.
Herd immunity. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I got a cough right now. I don't know if it's contagious through the this thing, but we got a fire pit, and I was sucking in a lot of campfire smoke, so I'm pretty sure that's why. But you never know. Maybe it's the COVID.
Hey, you're socially isolated, so I don't think you'll hurt anybody.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go to the old folks' home. Go say hi. That was a joke for people that don't know my sense of humor.
No.
It's extremely dry. So I'm not actually going to go to the old folks' home. Sorry if you took offense to that one.
Oh well.
Oh well, that's right.
Just
Okay. Let's bring this one home here. All right.
Yeah.
So if you started the resilience challenge and then you fell off, listen to what we've said to try to get back on. And whether you're on a strategy call with me or Jake or Josh, just figure out, you don't have to think of 3 different things. Just think of one thing that you can make a different decision on today. If you need more help and more accountability, Josh is doing customized nutrition right now. So he can walk you through it. He can hold your hand. Roseanne too. So reach out to one of us. We'll get you to the right direction, and they'll tell you exactly how to go about this thing given your circumstances. So if you need a little extra help, reach out.
Yep. Here for
Oh,
you.
yeah.
All right, guys. Till next week, which we should be back to our normal time, but if not, you'll probably watch the recorded version anyway. Later.
Later, guys.
Later.